configuring. And go ahead and start pouring your paint. I'm going to be using this dark for my background, a little white. Okay. Hello, welcome. Hi, I'm Ronita. I'm a Purposeful Point. I'm going to highlight. That would be better, huh? Spotlight. All right. Awesome. Welcome. And today we are painting, I think I named these like the apple blossoms because that's the kind of feel that I got with them. And four colors, green, white, pink, and black. But again, I encourage you to choose whatever works best for you. Make it your own painting. Um, I am painting on 11 by 14 acrylic paper. So, I mean, acrylic paper because it holds the acrylic paint. Acrylic paint is water-based, so it holds it very well. So that's why I love this. I buy, this is the only kind that I buy. This is called Arteza. I get 16 sheets in a pack and I get this off of Amazon, but it just holds the paint so well. And even like, it doesn't warp. It doesn't have any texture to it after, sometimes it'll bowl up on the sides, but for the most part, it holds the paint very well. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't get real wet with the paint, so keep that in mind too. But I do cover my surface and then, put layers on there and it holds it very well. So that's what I'm painting on. You're welcome to paint on whatever works best for you. Um, a canvas, canvas board, paper, whatever works best for you. Like I said, I am using acrylic paints. It is water-based. It does stain. I recommend to protect your surface or clothing, if depending on how you paint. I am on an easel, but I would prefer to paint flat. It's easier for me to turn the canvas this way and that. Next, my brushes. I do use synthetic brushes, the soft bristles, not too soft. I know I've seen some watercolor paint brushes that are just like super soft and they're terrible. But and then of course my favorite is a flat brush, anywhere from like a half inch on up to an inch brush. I like, a little bit bigger. I like the bigger brushes to cover more surface, to cover the larger areas, and I go a bit smaller as I go down. And I do have various sizes flat brushes. Also recommend a pointer brush, um, for some, depending on when you want to go smaller, if you want more detail. I still use my flat brush for pretty much almost everything, but I do see some smaller buds. And you're going to decide how many buds you're going to put on there. I'm not going to say, oh, you need this many or that many. You fill it, you make it as full as you like it. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Think I covered everything. Spotlight, well, audio, you're welcome to unmute to ask any questions, but if you have a lot of background noise, I do ask that you mute, because it sounds horrible for us, not so much for you guys, but for us, it sounds horrible. So I'm going to start with my white. I'm going to paint my center white, and then I'm going to introduce the green towards the outer, and then kind of go blend, go in and out, in and out. But just a nice circle with whatever you decide is your middle, your center, with just white paint. And I did wet my brush because it helps this paint move around on the canvas better when your brush is is damp. It has water in it. And as you go along, depending on how wet it is, you might have to dip it again to make sure it's moist. Because I know with paper, the paper just drinks the paint. So now I have a circle. I'm not sure. I'm gonna show you the top and the bottom so you can see how big my circle is in the center of my painting. Because now I'm kind of ready to introduce my green. And no, I didn't rinse out my brush. I still have the white paint in my brush, and I'm going to go ahead and dip it in my green. Kind of go around the white. Just a big old circle. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then guys, I want to apologize in advance. It is a football game coming on tonight. And I don't know who's playing, but I know my husband is posted up ready for the game. So it might get a little bit loudy on my end. A little bit loud, a little bit rowdy. Yep, that's the big circle. Probably I'm going to bring it out to the, uh, you can bring it, I'm bringing it to the edges, especially on the sides because this, sides are a little bit shorter. I'm not pressed so much about my top. But you're going to have a bigger canvas. I tell Suzanne, she's not here, go big or go home. Go ahead and use up that canvas space. Don't paint tiny on a big canvas. Don't waste. I don't really like a lot of waste. That's why you see I do have a lot of paint on here, but I just keep using the same palette. So why waste it? So go ahead and use all of your canvas. You might as well, why not? And as you can see, I'm not real pressed about how solid my paint is. You can see some of it is kind of a lighter in some areas. I'm not really concerned about making it solid or opaque. And don't take things too serious. Relax and enjoy yourself. So I am going in a circular motion. I'm kind of, giving it that illusion of I guess like a tunnel. And of course, I was inspired by another painting that had the kind of same effect. Mhm. Here, and then come back in here. And I love to, most paintings, to have my background, paint the whole thing, because kind of the layering gives the object some nice dimension. Okay. So I do have my whole background pretty much covered. Okay, we have our background covered. I still have the green paint in my brush. And now I'm going to dip it in the white. Just the tip. And then I'm going to go around my circle. Like I said, I still have that green in my brush. I'm going to start bringing it in. Well, I'm going to kind of go on the outside first with my white. Then I'm going to bring it in. So I'm pretty much painting it green, but it's just a really light green. But I'm still going in my circular motion, guys. And then, still have that green in my brush and a little bit of white. And I'm going to try to bring some of that white on out towards the outer sections because I want it to be a gradient, like light in the inside, and then it get a little bit darker. So now I'm going to switch back and dip it in my green. I'm not rinsing my brush, and I'm going to go around the edges of my white because I want to darken up my edges a little bit to make it, like I said, like it's going from light to dark. There we go. Don't make it too dark because we like that. I still want the background to be really dark, but that center, don't make it your center too dark because we want that kind of effect, dimensional effect.
Ronita, did you put the green in the entire center? The whole
I
center?
eventually made it, yes, eventually. I started on the outside to get so that to lighten up the green in my brush. And as I got closer, so that I wouldn't like make that middle too dark. But if you feel like your middle is too dark, just throw some white in there in the middle and then keep coming out towards the edges so that you can blend it. And mine still has green in it, so it's not going to get any lighter. And if I didn't like that, then I would just rinse my brush out and then try to use the white, take the white and kind of, because your paint is still wet. So it's still going to continue to blend even if you rinse the green brush out, if you wanted it to be lighter. And I'm cool with that. And once I get it where I want it, I'm going to put my brush down because we're going to need the surface to dry a little bit before we put our flowers on there. So I know it's going to be hard not to continue to swipe, but resist that urge. Finish up your background, then put that brush down. So hopefully you're finished with your background and you're letting it dry. Of course, mine's is dry already. Because next we're going to take our white and make flowers on top of that. and we don't want the green to blend. So we want it to the surface to be at least fairly fairly dry. And if you have a blow dryer or hair dryer, this would be a perfect time to go ahead and dry your surface. So with my white, I am going to switch to a smaller flat brush. I think this, I don't know what size it is. It does, the numbers are all, but basically I'm switching to a size that I want my petals to be. Well, actually it's going to be a little bit bigger, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to make the petals the size that they are. And my favorite letter, C, when it comes to painting. So hopefully your surface is like surface dry. It's not going to be totally dry, but we're just kind of, when I say kind of put the petals on the surface, if you take your brush and you kind of press down when painting, of course, you're going to blend it. And so, but sometimes if you have a lighter touch and you can kind of put that paint on the surface without doing too much blending. And if it does blend, we'll go back with a second coat. So I got talked about my C's. So I'm making my petal, no particular place, because we're just going to put them everywhere. And this one's going to be, I'm going to work on my bigger ones first. So when I say a C, you can see that kind of not a complete curvy C, but a C. And then I'm going to do another backward C. That's how I make my petals. And then I'm going to fill it in. So that makes sense, guys. There's my C's. And I'm going to make another petal the same way. A C and a C. All right. I'm going to go around and do a couple more. And some of my petals will be 5, some maybe 4 or not. But there's no standard. Okay. And there's my petals. Does that not look like an awesome flower? Just my 2 C's. It's okay if they overlap. It gives them dimension if they overlap. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to do some with 5. How about that? That might be a struggle. See if I can make one with 5s. And again, there's no particular place that I'm putting these. Just getting them on the canvas. So I might have to go smaller to get 5 petals. But I'm doing my C technique. 1 forwards, 1 backwards, depending on how you look at it. And this is the width of my brush. That's the size I want my petals. They're actually a little bit bigger than that, but Okay, this one is not going to be a 5-petal one. Oh, no, I can't get a 5th petal in there. It'll be a little abstract, but I can get it. I did. I got 5 petals on that one. So feel free, make some more. 4-petal, 5-petal, whichever, 3-petal, 2-petal. I have some that are 2-petal. And then just the same thing with put one right here with just 2 petals. The C, I'm only making 2 C's. There we go. 2 petals. So I'm pretty big with my flowers. I'm going to try to do some that are a little bit smaller. And it's okay if you see the brush strokes in the petal, but that just gives it a little bit of texture and brings it out a little bit. Because then if you can see some of the paint goes on a little bit heavier in some spaces. So it's like lighter, meaning more white. And then some is the paint is a little thinner. So you see more of the background show through. That's okay. That's what I mean by it gives you it the little texture. It almost makes them look real. Okay. Big and little, big and little. And I'm going to put some over the lighter areas, but of course, with that dark background and the white flowers on top, it'll really make it pop. And again, I'm using white, but you can use yellow. Yellow will pop against that green background. And then, you know, especially if your white paint is kind of mixing with the green and not giving you the effect that you want, you can change the color. But now with the white flowers, it gives you a lighter base, and then you can change it up like this green on this green orange. Not initially. I'm thinking orange would look really good on the green, but only adding that orange on top of the white, because if you use the dark base and put orange on there, your flowers are not going to be as bright, as vibrant. They're not going to pop like the white ones are. But if you put the white down first and then put the orange on there, then that'll pop for you. Put one with the 3 petals right here. Just experiment with the different how many petals you put on there. So that one is a 3-petal. And then I'm going to put a petal here that's kind of flat, make it look like that it's different angle. Um, I think I'm going to put one more bigger flower, and then I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. Yep, I got carried away with the, no, it's not that many. I'm going to switch to a smaller flat brush. I'm still going to be using my flat brush, but I'll show you. Let me wet it. And I always wet my brushes first. Makes the paint flow a little bit better. There's my flat. This brush, it says a 12, and I do know that I got this at Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby's, it says touch. Fine, it says, what it say? It says fine touch, but that touch word, I know that that's the Hobby Lobby brand of brushes. Sometimes when they have it, like they used to do like 50% off, but they don't do that anymore. Sometimes it might be 40 or something like that. And then I'll get a box of them and they're all different sizes. And these are some of those from that box. So now I'm gonna, make some petals that are do the kind of the same thing, but with a smaller petal. Making my C's, doing something different. I had a three petal one, kind of bigger in the middle, and then the shorter on the sides. Just experimenting, just kind of doing different things, guys. There's no right or wrong. It's all abstract. Okay. And pretty much one stroke, maybe two. I'm not trying to make them solid or anything. Like I said, with the variations, it just makes it look real. So I'm going to put a couple more on here. And I'm going to show you another technique that I use with the brush, the pointer brush. Okay, I'm going to grab a pointer brush. Now my pointer brush it's kind of thicker. It's not like a really thin pointer brush, but it just has a point on it and it's a round. How about that? It's a round and but so I'm going to take it and put some good amount of paint on there. And then I'm going to show you guys, I'm just going to lay the brush on the canvas that way, and then that way, kind of going up like a like wheat. Oh, someone's joining. Maybe they're on a different time zone. Kind of like weigh the wheat. That's what I'm attempting to do. Maybe it looks like some the top of like a wheat stalk when, you know. I hope I'm describing it correctly. Welcome. I had someone just join, and we're actually really pretty far into the painting, but I did live stream it to YouTube, so you can go back and join in at any time. So I did a couple of those with the wheat, not anything, just like I said, just kind of experimenting with um, different flower techniques. I still will have the shorter, and I'm gonna maybe make two where it looks like it's kind of budding. One, just two where it looks like it's budding. Okay. And then another smaller one with the three. Just play around with that. Little ones, big ones. And that's about it. I'm about done. And again, if you make it fuller, I kind of stayed in the center. If you want to bring some out towards the edges, some of the flowers to the edges, that's fine. To play around with the flowers with 4 petals, 5 petals, 3 petals. And you can make it as full as you like, because if you think about it, sometimes the branches, the trees that might have more buds in a certain area than other, or just a full tree. I know, I think in March, I didn't notice. Well, I did when COVID hit. Every at lunch, I would make the whole family go go for a walk, and we walked through the neighborhood, and it was just a lot of these trees that reminded me of this picture, and they were just, I love it. I took so many pictures of people's trees, and I walk in their yards taking pictures of their flowers and all that good stuff. So after you've got your buds on there, I'm ready to, now this was the tricky part, connecting uh, all of the buds to a branch some kind of way. So some of them I did paint the brush over top of what some of the buds, but my goal was to just, this is where I'm going to use my black. You can use brown or black, it's up to you. I'm going to try to connect all, at least have a bud coming off a branch somewhere. It doesn't have to be one branch. As you can see my example, it was a couple of branches. So, and you can see here where I couldn't figure out how to connect it. So it looked a little bit odd, but you didn't notice that until I pointed it out. So keep that in mind when you're making yours. Don't be too concerned. So you can grab a pointer brush if you like, but of course I stick with my flat brush. I like it because I have more paint. You can get more paint on it and go a little bit further when you use the flat brush. But instead of painting horizontal, I'll turn it vertical, so it gives me a flat surface. Okay, so let's go ahead and start connecting. Let's see, I did that, connecting those. So it might, like I said, it might be kind of tricky, making sure everything is connected to a branch. And then if it doesn't, it's abstract. It'll be okay. And I guess I should have thought of this before I put all the buds where I put them. But it's okay. I'm going to get them connected some kind of way. It's pretty fun trying to connect all those buds. And try to make it look natural. It's working. It's working. I promise you can do it. Now, these ones that are closer to this edge here, I'm going to make them a little bit thicker. Now, I just have 3 more to connect. I think I can do it. And again, if you don't connect them, it's all right if they look like they're floating. Nobody knows but you. Okay. I just have one more. How am I going to connect that one? And I'm doing it without painting like a curvy branch to get around one. That's my goal. All right. All of my buds are connected to a branch. Victory. Now looking for a pink for my centers. All right. So all buds connected. I think so. Let me back up a little bit. Yeah, I think everybody has a connection. Now, the fun thing about this is while we were working on connecting our buds, our flowers were able to dry. And if they're not dry, we're just painting the centers. Just a little bit of paint. And I grabbed pink. You're welcome to change the colors. Yellow would be, if you have white flower buds, the yellows would look good in there. That yellow would look good. Um, but I am going to use my pointer brush. Like I'm just, putting basically a dot of pink paint in the center of my open buds. And then it's okay if it's still wet in the center and it mixes with your pink, just makes it a lighter pink. Okay. And there's no rhyme or reason to that. They don't have to be perfect circles. Don't get carried away and it has to be perfect. So they can be a little bit off-centered. I experimented with some of them. You'll see this one, I put it in the center and then I put little dots around, emulating that might just again just kind of experiment, doing a little bit something different. This is abstract art. It's okay if we get a little abstract. Guys, if you've seen any of my personal art, I get it's all about the abstract. All about abstract for me. All right. And this is a time that I always like to say, this is your opportunity to make this your painting. You can do a little something different, make it stand out a little bit. Maybe paint a little bee in there. Wouldn't that be cute? But you can just kind of put a spin on it, make the painting yours, um, add something different that we didn't talk about. That bee comes really strong to mind for me. But whatever works for you, make it your own painting. I just don't know how to work this new setup. All right, are we ready for some spotlights? Before we spotlight, I'm going to go ahead and say good night to those who are following on YouTube. And we are going to end that for YouTube if I can figure out how to do that. Might have already done it, didn't know I did because I can't figure this new setup out.